Hey guys, welcome back to Overswing Golf, where we bring you honest reviews, on-course tests, and everything golf. Today we are diving into TaylorMade's latest and greatest, the QI35 Driver. Is this the game changer they claim? Let's find out together. Brand new for 2025, TaylorMade's QI35 Driver. Now the QI stands for Quest for Inertia. Now in the QI10, they were trying to get to that magical 10K number. Now with the new line, the 35 series, they are boasting groundbreaking AI engineering with new face technology, a carbon forged body, and aerodynamics that TaylorMade says can add yards to your drives. We're going to break this review into three parts: the tech, the feel, and the performance. And finally, we'll hit some shots, dive into the numbers on the launch monitor, and show you the differences between these three heads. All right, guys, so some of the new features on the QI35 is a brand new AI forged infinity face. Now, this is a next generation twist face design. Twist face is still in this guy. It's designed for optimal forgiveness and explosive ball speeds, even on those off-center hits. You also have the new ultra lightweight carbon chassis, carbon crown, and sole. Now, all this carbon here helps redistribute some of that weight for a lower center of gravity. What TaylorMade claims is it's going to improve those launch conditions and stability. You have the aero fin in the back. This reduces drag, promising faster swing speeds without any extra effort. You still have the same adjustable off sleeve with a plus or minus 2 degrees of adjustability that you can dial in to get your perfect flight. Now, there are three different heads. Each one is designed with a 9, 10.5, and 12 degrees mini shaft options, from lightweight graphite for that extra speed all the way up to the extra stiff for stability. Okay, guys, so first impressions when I'm setting down the driver. It's got a really clean look. Now, there are three heads with the design, so we're going to be testing these guys kind of from most forgiving to least forgiving. So we're starting out with the Max. Now, the Max is the 10K product. Now, this is very similar to last year's in terms of the QI35. I think they've definitely changed. They've moved that center of gravity, back. They've swept this design a little bit further. The whole idea of these drivers is when you lower that center of gravity and you get it kind of below the center of the equator of the golf club, you're going to get that higher launch, lower spin, and ultimately maybe a little bit more carry, a little bit more rollout. Now, if they can achieve that and still maintain that that high forgiveness on those toe and heel hits, and also top to bottom. Now, if you remember, 10K basically refers to the MOI of the driver. The USGA regulates really the toe and heel strike, so how much resistance to twisting, moment of inertia, MOI. What they don't regulate is the top and bottom of that driver. So when we're looking at the driver, those toe and heel hits, the more weight and more mass you can get behind the driver, the more stable that's going to be. It's going to prevent that head from rotating around its axis. If they manage to drop that center of gravity even lower in these golf clubs, you're going to maintain more stability. Well, a lot of times what happens is when you catch one kind of high on the golf club, the club actually does this. It launches high and you get less spin, which is not a bad thing. The problem is when you used to catch these drivers low in the face, they would tend to add loft, ball shoots up, and you get spin. By lowering that center of gravity in all three of these models, you're going to negate some of that, keep that head more stable, so you're going to still maintain some height, a little lower spin, maybe some more carry. So we're going to dive into the Max driver first. We're going to hit some shots. We'll look at some of the numbers. We'll see what these guys do. Listen for the sound a little bit and see if these drivers perform as well as they say they do. Now, TaylorMade, this being the most forgiving of the three heads, is generally going to be the most draw bias out of the three. One thing that we'll look at the end of the video is we'll see how the spin rates are. A lot of these higher MOI drivers, 10Ks, the Ping 10K, the Cobra Adapt 10K, they tend to launch higher and tend to have a little bit more spin, which is not a bad thing for certain players. If you tend to be a high spin player, may not be the best option. If you tend to draw the ball, again, may not be the best option. So we're going to look at those numbers at the end. We'll see how those compare with the other two models. But again, that was the QI35 Max driver. Well, guys, up next we have the QI35 Core model. Now, This one's a little different from last year, where they had a fixed weight in the back. You couldn't really adjust anything. They've made some changes to this guy this year. Same infinity face crown. You've got all the same kind of tech that's in the other three models, that lower CG. But this year, you're able to actually change the weighting from front to back. So you have a 13 gram in the back and a 3 gram in the front, and you can move those. When the weight is in the back of the driver, you're going to get that extra stability, that extra forgiveness on the head. If you tend to be a higher spin player, again, you move that weight forward, you move that lightweight back, you're going to get that lower spin setting. You still have the 2-degree loft sleeve, so you can really dial in these guys. So a little bit more customizable this year. Taylormade has claimed that they're trying to get a little bit more separation between the three heads. So between the Max model, the Core, and the LS. We'll see how those numbers look at the end. We're going to hit this guy as well. I do like the shaping of it. This one, they say, is actually a little bit more forgiving than last year's model as well, pushing it closer to that Max model in terms of forgiveness, but still maintaining a kind of lower spin and more aerodynamic design. So again, first impressions kind of behind the golf ball when I'm looking down at it. It appears to be maybe a little bit flatter in terms of top to bottom than the Max. Still sits up nice and square. Doesn't look shut at all. That kind of glossy finish on the top, that matte black, but still has a little shine to it. Looks really nice. When I first saw it, I was maybe a little turned off by it, but now that I've actually kind of have it set up behind a golf ball, you can also see the face. One of the nice things that Taylormade has done over the last couple of generations of their drivers that a lot of guys don't talk about is that there's a little white mark across the crown of the driver. And that actually, you can see that at address. That helps line the face up a little bit easier when you set that down behind a golf ball. So I really have kind of grown to like that. It just helps with alignment. You can tell the club face is open if it's closed. Just helps you visualize that shot maybe that you're trying to hit here. All right, so we're going to hit a few more balls here. We're going to test this guy out, and we'll see what the numbers look like. All right, so we just got done hitting the QI35 core model. Now, really solid numbers. Took me a couple swings to kind of get it dialed in, but once I hit some really good balls with it. Nice ball speed, spin rate seemed to be pretty good. Again, we'll look at the numbers at the end. As we jump to the LS model, now this one, Taylormade claims actually they were able to lower the center of gravity lower even than the other two models, almost 1.5 millimeters compared to what they did last year. So much lower center of gravity. This one, you're really going to get that vertical projection, as they say, where that CG location is definitely lower in this club face. It's going to allow you to hit those high towering bombs, if you will, and lower spin. The weight on this one, now there are 3 weights on this driver. You have a 15 gram, you have a 13 gram in the back of the driver plus 2 3 grams in the front. So you can move this to be a fade bias, draw bias, or neutral, depending on where you position it. But still having the weight a little bit more forward in the face of this golf club is going to help lower that spin rate just a little bit. Keeping that weight in the back will make it a little bit more stable. So we're going to jump in here. We're going to hit some more shots here, look at some of these numbers at the end, and see how the LS model compares to the other two. Okay, so as we dive into the numbers here, we're looking at the QI35 Max first. And so we're looking at the average total distance was 275, carry rate 263. Ball speed was pretty good at 153. And again, now this is the Max model, the most forgiving model. Pretty good dispersion, a couple left, couple right. They're looking at there, but very, very low spin for a Max 10K model. This is one of the lowest spinning 10K models I've hit recently, going from the Ping G430 to the Cobra 10K to this one. This one's definitely the lowest spinning out of those three that I've touched so far. Core model was really good for me. This one was really good on the dispersion side of things. Very, very straight, just a little baby draw with most of the shots that I hit with it. Very good ball speed too, 157. So that's generally a little bit higher than I've been averaging. I'm typically in that 153 to 155 category. I did have one over 160 with this head as well, so very, very stable. Good carry, good rollout on the total, averaging about 12 yards left to center. It was a really good, stable driver head, very consistent on the trajectories, land angles, all those numbers looked really good. All right, so now we're going to look at the QI35. Now, this head, very interesting. Out of the three that I hit, I had my longest hit with this driver. This guy carried close to 290, well, almost 290 total, 280 in the air. Ball speed on this one hit was 164 miles an hour. So that's my highest ball speed that I've had in testing so far this year. The downside of some of these low spin heads is when you do mishit them, if they're not fitted correctly, you can get that outlier. That could be one that could be not the most forgiving, and that's what you might see once in a while. But overall, pretty consistent with the other strikes. Ball speeds this was the highest ball speed, and the total numbers were a little bit longer than the core. I did like the core in terms of the forgiveness and the stability of that head. We might have to do a little bit more testing this year to figure out which driver might be going into the bag. But right now, the LS and the core are definitely kind of leaders in the clubhouse so far. All right, so looking at the averages here one more time for the three different models. So we have the Max on top, we've got the QI35 Core in the middle, and the LS on the bottom here. So total distance for the Max was 275, the Core 283, and the LS at 283. So again, very, very similar numbers between the Core and the LS model for me. Ball speed, really only the main difference between these. They're almost identical, 158 versus 157. The LS was a little bit flatter on the apex by a little difference in the feet. Vertical launch angle almost the same. The deviation number is a little misleading because it's showing 6 yards left. I had more left, and I had that one big right, so that kind of skewed that number a little bit. But again, between the two, the spin numbers are really, really close. A 40 RPM difference really between those two. So really similar models. I think the difference again is the forgiveness of those two heads. The consistency for me, the core was just a tiny bit better as far as the dispersion, but really interesting. The Max model, again, very low spin for a 10K head. I think that's something to be aware of. So make sure you get fit, get the right loft, get the right shaft in these as well. All right, guys. So that was the quick run through of the QI35 drivers from Taylormade. Three distinct models, different heads to get you fit, get you dialed in, find the right model for you. I'm going to say that these are definitely a little bit more forgiving, I think, than the QI10s from last year. The biggest thing I'm going to say for these drivers is they tend to be a little bit lower spinning. Can be good for you if you need that. Could be bad if you don't have enough speed. Now, I think the lightweight model that they're offering this year is going to fit that slower swing speed player. It's going to launch higher. It's going to spin a little bit more. I didn't test it just because it doesn't quite fit my speed. But I think if you're in the market for a new driver looking for a low spin option, definitely give these a try. Get fit for them. Test them out and see what you think. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in today. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe. As always, we've got more content coming for you soon. We'll be testing out more drivers as they come out later this spring, and we'll see you soon.